My fellow SADCers, it's been a minute. Let me try to catch up. So, the Zimbabwean president, Emmerson Mnangagwa, finally got to experience for 5 minutes what Zimbabweans have always experienced daily, and that is power cuts. This story made international headlines. Meanwhile, Namibia just recently elected its first female president via a chaotic election reminiscent of the last Zimbabwean election, with some saying the Namibian election takes the trophy. Speaking of trophies, take a look at this one. It's been trending on Zimbabwean social media. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Zimbabwean Premier Soccer League trophy. I kid you not. 18 Premier League teams compete for this thing. Castle Lager has its name imprinted on this thing. I can't believe this is a PSL trophy. Some are calling it a gas tank. Wona si ribbon sacho. Kunge manenga boya naiwa ikarowa nechimvura mabwe. I can't believe this is a PSL trophy. Speaking of the PSL, Nolo Jimsona's brother, Walter, was recently voted as Soccer Star of the Year. Kama Billiard was given the People's Choice Award. Kama Billiard plays for a team owned by popular and controversial Zimbabwean prophet Walter Magaya, and Walter Musona plays for the league champions, Simba Bora. It just saddens my heart that this is the trophy that Walter Musona had to lift for winning the league title. In other news, Nelson Chamisa recently hinted on the creation of something new. What is this something new? Could it be another political party? If so, what is he going to do differently this time? What's his strategy for combating infiltration? Remember, the MDC-T was taken from him, Kupe. The MDC Alliance was also taken from him, Monzora. And of course, the Triple C was also taken from him, Chabang. So if he forms another political party, is it also not going to be taken from him? And if it does, what else? Another one? Well, fellow SADCers, slay queens and bingers, socialites, papalites, basinamalites, varikudyarais, never sinamarites. Welcome to the special report. Now, let's begin with Namibia. The woman you're looking at right now is the president-elect of Namibia. Her name is Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwa. Of course, Ndia Kaita. She's a veteran freedom fighter, aged 72. If you're Zimbabwean, she is the Joyce Mujuru of Namibia, of course, before her fall from grace. And by the way, that fall from grace actually happened literally because it was Grace Mugabe who made her fall. Get it? Anyway, back to Namibia. If and when Nandi Ndaitwa gets sworn in, she will become the first ever directly elected female head of state in Southern Africa. Of course, she won't be the first female head of state in Southern Africa because we've already had Joyce Banda in Malawi and Samia Hassan in Tanzania. But these two were not elected. Joyce Banda took over after the death of President Bingu wa Mutharika, and Samia Hassan took over after the death of President Magufuli. They both took over to finish the presidential terms of their departed presidents. Joyce Banda did run for president after, but she lost to Peter Mutharika, and Samia Hassan is expected to run for president for the first time next year when Tanzania goes to the polls. Anyway, back to Namibia. So, if and when Nandi Ndaitwa gets sworn in, she will become the first elected female president in Southern Africa. Actually, I should say mainland Southern Africa, because Mauritius has in the past had a female president. Now, take a look at this headline by the Daily News. It says, "A pleas for a woman president heighten." But of course, these are just pleas, calls. When you make a call, someone on the other end should answer. So, are these calls going to be answered? Is Zimbabwe really ready for a female president? In 2018, Thokozani Kupe tried but failed monumentally. When you think about it, women from the opposition don't really have a realistic shot at being president. At least not at the moment. Maybe one day. What about women in ZANU-PF? Well, the biggest contenders would obviously be Opam Chinguri and Mabel Chinomona. Opam Chinguri is the chairperson of ZANU-PF and also the Minister of Defense. That makes her the most powerful woman in Zimbabwean politics. Mabel Chinomona is the chairperson of the ZANU-PF Women's League and also the president of the Senate. That also makes her really powerful. But to be president of ZANU-PF, you must enjoy the confidence and support of the military, of the junta, of JOC. Do they? You see, it's not a popularity contest. You must be anointed by the only constituents of ZANU-PF that matters, and that is the military. But this is a subject for another day. For now, let's get back to Namibia, a country which has just now elected its first female president, Nandi Ndaitwah. Her election wasn't without drama though. You see, her biggest challenge was this guy, Panduleni Itula, who is a former member of SWAPO himself, having joined it in 1976. But he left SWAPO in 2019 and ran for president as an independent candidate. In that election, he gave SWAPO its biggest challenge since independence. For the first time, the SWAPO party got less than 60%. But leading into this election, Panduleni formed a political party called the IPC. He was hoping to topple the SWAPO party, which has led Namibia since independence in 1990. So, the stage was set. A polling day was the 27th of November. The leading horses were Nandi Ndaitwah of SWAPO and Panduleni Itula of the IPC. The number of registered voters was just above 1.4 million, which is nothing, right? I mean, Zimbabwe is over 6 million registered voters, so 1.4 million should easily be manageable, right? Wrong. You see, Namibia doesn't have a polling station-based voting system. The whole country is treated as one constituency. That means anyone can vote from anywhere. Now, this creates a lot of hurdles and logistical nightmares for the Electoral Commission. It also provides a perfect environment for rigging. If anyone can vote from anywhere, how do you know how many people will turn up at one polling station? You could theoretically end up having 20 people on one polling station and 20,000 people in another polling station, creating numerous hurdles in the distribution of ballot papers. The SADC Observer Mission notes this very point in its preliminary report and recommends the following, and I quote, "The Namibian government should consider reforming its electoral system, as the current system where the country is perceived as one constituency, allowing voters to vote in any constituency irrespective of where they are registered, creates logistical and administrative challenges such as a shortage of ballot papers in some polling stations." So big was the number of affected people that voting was extended by 3 days in 39 polling stations to cater for those affected by the shortage of ballot papers. By this time, the opposition was already skeptical and suspicious of the Electoral Commission, not least the rumors and allegations of ZANU-PF interference. The arrogance of the Namibian Electoral Commission escalated the tensions. Opposition parties declared that the election had been compromised and vowed not to accept the results. In the end, SWAPO was declared the winner, with Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwah getting over 57% and Panduleni Itula coming second with 26%. The opposition remains adamant that the election was rigged, citing allegations of voter disenfranchisement, logistical failures, and procedural flaws by the Electoral Commission of Namibia. They want the judiciary to annul the election and call for a fresh one. This is not new to Namibia though, because in 2019, Panduleni Itula challenged the election results on the basis that the electronic voting machines that were used for those elections had no paper trail, and thus results could not be verified. The Namibian judiciary later ruled that the use of the electronic voting machines without a proper paper trail was unconstitutional, but it did not overturn the election result, saying that the opposition had failed to prove that there was any rigging that took place. Well, Panduleni Itula is back at it, because in a matter of days, his political party is expected to approach the judiciary with the help of other political parties in their bid for a fresh election. They are currently finalizing the necessary documentation. But whatever happens, I'll be here to marinate you with all the details without fear or favor, because on this platform, we say it as it is. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoy the content, please like and share.